right, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural episode of the When Without podcast.
Let's go!
Presented by When Without. So first off, thanks for coming and hanging out with us for this first episode. We're super excited about it.
Yeah, we are.
Just a couple of housekeeping things. So the kind of goal of this is we'll be talking about our past as a band, what we're working on now, kind of state of the music, maybe eventually do some interviews as well. And we do want to preemptively thank everyone that is subscribed to the Patreon. So we'll have a link in the description somewhere. I don't know where it is for podcasts, but
we'll figure it out when we get there.
We'll figure it out.
This is our first episode.
Episode. I know Bobby is a podcasting champion. He had Brain Boggled for a while.
I'm a champion.
We're new to the scene. So
this is our maiden voyage.
Voyage.
Well, Ben was on a couple episodes of my previous podcast. Shout out to Brain Boggled Podcasts. But this is the When Without podcast. We got our sign.
Bigger and better.
We literally
just picked it up at
fresh off the
Staples.
printer.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Alex said, I mean, we're going to be talking about just kind of like our roots and just for today, we'll tell you where we've been and where we're going. But in future episodes, make sure to like follow us because we're going to be talking to other bands, venue people, other people who we've worked with before. So like our artist, our in-house artist Sam will be on the show at some point. Our mixing professional Fabs will probably be on the show at some point. She's off screen right now.
Just off screen.
So definitely give us a follow and check out our music on Spotify. But I think without further ado, we should introduce ourselves.
We should.
And get into our first episode. So
Let's do it.
I'm Bobby. I'm the singer and guitar player of When Without.
I'm Ben. I play bass.
And I'm Alex. I'm the drummer and backup vocal guy. And so for today, our specific topic is kind of the journey of When Without, at kind of a bird's eye view overhead of it, of like what we've done, how we got here, and a little bit about what we're trying to do moving forward.
Our intentions, if you will.
Exactly, yeah. So this will kind of be story mode, I guess, is the way to
Storytellers, When Without.
Storyteller episode. But it'll be good. Hopefully everyone, kind of comes on this with us so you know where we've been and how we ended up where we are. So,
yeah, you get to learn about our humble beginnings, how we became a band, and how we know each other. I think we should start with that.
Let's start right there.
So let me think back. So me and Ben, me and Ben go way back. I mean, we're 27 now. So
Yeah.
Ben and I were born in Lowell, Mass, pretty much down the hall from each other, a day apart. And our parents were friends, and they lived across the street from each other. So we've known each other since the day I was born.
Yeah.
Because Ben's one day older than me, so I hate you.
Forever older.
Which means he could drink before me. He could drive before me, but he also had to get health insurance before me.
Yeah, I had to get health insurance one day early.
So Ben and I have been playing in bands since we were little babies.
That's
our
the
first
not fun birthday.
Yeah,
That's the sad birthday.
The sad birthday. I remember we had a couple bands. We had the Space Raiders. Our first show was in the back of Ben's dad's pickup truck, and that was that band lasted a day.
Forgot about that.
It's our first band. Second band was the Yellow Jackets. Third band was Breakthrough. We've gone up through many bands until we joined this one band, our previous band, which was called Coulter. And shout out to Evan. He started the band, and it was 2017, 2018?
I think
like 2016. So
Was it 2016?
So I know that the story
Yeah, it
of
might be that long ago.
Oh my God.
Coulter is that me and Evan were in another band called American Stonehenge. That I had
right.
just found some guys to play with when I was in college, and we were looking for a fourth member. And I think I literally just posted on like a Facebook group, and I found Evan, and we joined. He joined it, but then it started to kind of fall apart, and him and I wanted to do something different than what the band was doing.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I kind of want to make this thing called Coulter, and I know like two guys that are already willing to join in. So I was like, cool, let's do it. So we split off. We did that.
And it took a while for Coulter to like actually get going.
Yeah.
Remember, because we knew about the band for quite some time. And in fact, it was originally Ben wasn't the bass player. It was this other guy.
Yeah.
And then the other guy was like, I can't do it. And I was like, well, I know my best friend plays bass.
Yeah.
And we we used to be in bands constantly. We wanted to be in a band together again. So we just kind of were like, let's, take a back seat, let this other person kind of take the helm. And I remember that this like infamous this infamous person named Alex, and I was like, who's this Alex?
Mysterious.
Is this mysterious? There goes the sign.
Shoddy workmanship.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Just for a little bit of context, Ben built that little stand, and it's so shoddy and
It's not stable at all.
just like Ben.
Oh.
No, we love Ben. Ben,
Give
Ben,
it one more try, and if it falls, I'm taking it off.
Ben's a fantastic woodworker. It's just on a very like wobbly table, so that's gonna
It's
fall
like
from
there's
time
like
to
a
time.
crack in the table right here where the feet are, but I can't move it. I don't know. Never mind.
If it falls 5 times in an episode, we'll drop a new song for you.
Oh yeah. That's
That's the thing.
don't make promises you can't fulfill. We don't got stuff recorded.
I can't promise it's gonna be a good song.
Don't listen to them. It's false.
So I remember like there was this infamous Alex, and I was like, who's this Alex guy? And Evan kept talking about him, and like we had our first Coulter practice after months of like having individual practices. I think you two met first without me there.
Yeah, we
think so,
practiced
'cause
without you a bunch.
Yeah, because we practiced in. Well, this was the summer, so it was still at Evan's house. But
was still in
I
it,
do
yeah.
remember it was like a weird time of like schedules, and then like I couldn't get my drum set for a while because it was at
Yeah.
the place that we practiced in that previous band I mentioned. Like it was at that dude's grandfather's house. And
Yeah.
then he like wouldn't get in contact with me, and I ended up having to like drive up there and like break into the barn to steal
Oh,
my
yeah,
own
that's right.
drum set back. So that was a big setback too. That's we can go into a whole story there in another episode. So yeah, and then it was like, so you two would practice, and then like you and everyone would practice, and then me and him and Evan would practice. And
Yeah.
it was like 2 months
Yeah.
before we all got in one practice together, and like schedules finally stopped being funky.
But we all knew the songs at that point because Evan had
Yeah.
taught us all the
Yeah, yeah, we
songs
knew all the
separately.
songs.
So we came together, and I'll never forget, like, it was like a nice sunny summer day, and it was like the early morning. And I pull up to our practice space, and I just see this massive red truck. Like, I call it Clifford the Big Red Dog. I remember I was like, what is this giant truck? Like, who is this? And I walk into the garage. I see this kid with like gauges and like a nice like fade haircut with a little mustache,
I think
beard.
that
I
was
was like,
still comb over day.
it's comb
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
And I was like,
Still,
oh,
yeah.
oh, this kid's so cool. He's like a real emo guy. He's like a real musician. It's like any of these Dunkin' Donuts coffee. And I was like, hey, I'm Bobby. And that was actually the first day that we had gotten together as a band. And we had
Yeah?
a photo shoot.
Yes.
So
Same day.
I'll throw up the pictures now. This is from our photo shoot. This is the day that me and Alex met.
Yep.
And
And still only within the first handful of times I had met Ben.
yeah, so Ben and Alex knew each
Yeah,
other
yeah.
a little
Because we
bit.
only seen each other like a few times.
Maybe
you know,
two,
like,
three
not
at most.
a lot.
I knew who he was. That was about it.
And
Like,
we're
I
in
knew-
pictures together.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny looking back now because, I mean, fast forward to today, years later,
Yeah,
we're
like when
going to
you
be
look
in
at
your
old
wedding
pictures,
now.
You put
And,
in all of your memories from like now, and you're just like, oh yeah, that was just a regular day.
Yeah.
You know, but like it's like, oh wait, yeah, that's when we all met each other.
I mean, I have so many pictures over the years of like me and you together, Ben, too, like of us with like random people that we were in bands with
Yeah.
or whatever. And it's just like never saw that person again.
Yeah.
And like, so you never know what could have happened. But
Yeah.
now we're in your wedding and we look back and that's the day we met or the, close to the day
It
we
is
met.
cool that we have photographic evidence of like legitimately the first time we all hung out.
Yeah, it's
We're, like,
very well
awkward. We're all,
documented.
Very posed photographic
yeah.
evidence
It's
too.
not only is it like a picture, it's like a gallery of
Yeah,
photos.
it's historic.
All in like we went to like the state park,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
across the town.
State forest kind of thing. And it was funny because we were so like timid and like we didn't know each other. So we're all just kind of like standing there like with our like shoulders tucked. Like at least I remember being like uncomfortable because like I don't really know these people. I mean,
We know three of us.
I knew
but-
the new three of you, but like I was kind of like still uncomfortable. I'm like, I want to make a good impression on this kid who has like a big red truck. Like I got, and yeah. So we had our first practice, and I mean, Coulter went on for what 2 years?
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was-
it's
it was
around
about
2
2
years.
years.
I mean,
It was while we were in college, you know.
yeah, and like
Um,
yeah, you were still in college. Like
yeah,
I was
still
in college
yeah.
and then graduated. So it was all kind of like in that time period.
Yeah.
And I mean, we played in that band for a while.
Yeah.
We released an EP, recorded the majority of an actual album that never ended up getting released, unfortunately. And played a decent amount of shows, mostly in the Lowell area. We were definitely the Uncharted. We called ourselves the Uncharted House Band for a while because
played
we
a
just
lot of shows
we
there.
played like
Yeah,
10 shows there, but
a lot of shows at Uncharted, and rest in peace, Uncharted. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a fun venue to play
Yeah,
at.
so it was so much fun. I loved being there.
If you know anything about being like from New England and playing in a emo band or whatever, you'll know that you get like Narragansetts at like some shows, and Uncharted was one of those shows where you got some Narragansett
You know,
beers.
it gave you one for free.
Yeah, you
One
got a
for
free
free.
beer, but it had
Which
to
was-
be a Narragansett.
which was
Had to
a
be.
big deal, you know,
Yeah.
end of college, like we're not getting paid.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I got a free beer.
That was our payment.
yeah,
that
that
was
free
the
beer. It's worth it.
and I think once we got like $10 out of
Mm.
a jar that someone decided to put out by the door,
You'd get
which
another
wasn't
beer.
at the which
Yeah.
wasn't the venue.
yeah.
I remember the Narragansett tasted so good because I think it was the freedom of
It's
it.
the
you know?
freedom.
But yeah, we played a lot of shows at Uncharted, and that was a really, really good venue, fun venue to play at. We had some fun shows. We played a couple house shows.
Couple house shows, yeah.
yeah.
all
One really good on.
in the Lowell, in the Lowell area, the classic basements. I'm sure they have completely different names now.
Yeah.
But if you're from the area and you went to college here, you know them.
Yeah, that was
It was good. And then, you know,
Yeah.
eventually we started to kind of split off. People got busy. So I'm able to remember this pretty well because it was when I had started my next job.
Mm-hmm.
So I know it was the summer, end of the summer of 2019.
Yep.
We all decided to kind of break that off.
Everyone kind of started like working more, like 'cause
Yeah.
this was the
Yeah.
point where everyone was graduated, and like Evan got a job, you got a job, Ben started working.
Well, that's when I was finishing college.
finishing
yeah,
college.
it was-
Yeah.
yeah.
And then
yeah,
like, I was
your
starting
senior
a new,
recital was
Yeah,
that.
because I had the senior recital.
This is the senior recital. I was starting a new career, so I know I wasn't going to be able to do anything for like
Yeah.
basically the fall.
Yeah.
Because I was just going to be studying for the tests I needed for my now career. But
It was a bit of an awkward ending.
it was, yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. And the good news is that a couple weeks, couple months later, you know, I don't remember who started. It might have been me or it might have been you. We just kind of sent a text to us three, just
Yeah.
being like, hey, like, do you want to get back to it? Just
Yeah.
like start something fresh.
I don't think the three of us, I mean, I don't think we were ready to stop. It just, things didn't, everyone went in their own direction. Things didn't work out. So we were kind of left with this like desire to play shows still. And unfortunately, that's like right when COVID hit.
Yeah, it was
so-
right. It was at the fast forward to March 20th, 2020, or whatever.
And that's
it is.
around when we started texting
Yeah.
about it. But like,
Yeah.
we couldn't get together because
Yeah.
of COVID. And it was a bummer.
Yeah, everyone's in their house for a few months. You know, it was no music whatsoever for a little bit. You know,
No music.
But in a way, that actually kind of worked out because, like, yeah, it did kind of stink that the previous project kind of had the breaks. Like, even, you know, COVID not in the picture, that COVID had nothing to do with it, of just like, you know, a rug swept from underneath us. We had to completely stop that.
Mm-hmm.
But then, you know, fast forward 2-3 months, we wouldn't be able to do anything anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It
we
worked
took
out.
it as an opportunity to get back to us together. And even though we couldn't, you know, we couldn't meet, we started like having meetings and being like, okay, like, what do we want to do?
Mm-hmm.
We started, because also the hard part, we had both graduated
Yeah.
Yeah, we
From-
both graduated college.
from college,
Yeah.
which was always the spot to play
Yeah.
because you could always go in a classroom.
Yeah.
And now we had nowhere to play.
We had no
So
band
we
space.
started looking for places.
Yeah. Alex and I were both music students, and you would be able to, after classes at the end of the night, you could go in and just move all the tables and chairs out of the way, and they would let you just practice right in the classrooms, which was really great.
Super convenient.
Because it's really, you know, if you play music, it's the world really doesn't want you to, because it's really hard to like make lots of noise in a confined area, you know, without a lot of people being mad.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Or
unless you
there,
have like
like-
a garage.
You got to think about
Yeah,
it like
I'm
this
lucky I don't
way.
play drums. Drums.
I mean-
I don't know how you practice drums.
Even if
I
you have a
didn't.
house, like even if you have a house, like you have to worry about neighbors and kids, and
Yeah.
like there's a lot you have to worry about being in a band, like playing
Yeah.
stuff. And so you basically need a large empty space where there's no people, but it's still well taken care of and
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where you get like the balance of, okay, it's not well taken care of, but there's no people, or there's people, it's well taken care of, but there is people.
Yeah, so there's constraints on timing and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember before we get into like our practice spaces, I think the first conversation we had about this band currently was the night of Ben's senior recital.
Yep, we
And-
finally sat down, had like
Yeah.
an
Yeah,
actual
yeah,
meeting,
yeah.
not
We
just
went to
like
Chili's.
talking about stuff.
We were born in a Chili's, like many bands are.
Yep,
We
born
went-
in the Chili's in Lowell.
We went to Chili's, and I remember I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know how me and Ben had kind of talked about it a little bit, but like I didn't know if you were going to be into like the idea of starting a new band. When we were at Chili's, I was just like, I remember throwing out like I just want to play music, and then you guys were like, I do too, and then that was kind of like the birthing spot of like I think one of us was going to bring it up.
That's
and
true.
and then I was really nervous because I wanted to like I definitely wanted to do it, but I was scared. And then when COVID hit, I remember thinking like it was never going to happen. I remember being like, oh, we're going to eventually get a practice space. We're going to eventually do this. But for me, I was kind of in a rut at the time, probably because of COVID. But I remember thinking like, this is never going to end. Like, we're never going to get a space. We're never going to get a time.
It definitely made things pretty difficult.
It felt like we were never going to be out of it. We were never going to see the end of it. At one point, like I think the end of the summer hit, and we were like starting to hang out with each other again, and we were like let's just get like our last band practice space that we had.
Yeah. So we kind of glossed over, I guess, but in the previous band in Coulter, the summer that I graduated, we didn't have a place to practice during the summer, so I don't even know how a friend of a friend found it, and it was like a really rundown building in the other side of Lowell.
Yeah,
and it wasn't that great, but it existed.
Yeah.
So we're like, that's a starting point. Let's see if we can reconnect with that landlord.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if we texted the friend who had found it last time, or if we had the landlord's number. I don't even remember. But we did eventually. We got it. It took a couple weeks. We got the keys. Got in there.
Oh God!
So this was
the first practice.
So what was this, like the end of the summer?
Yeah, it was like
sometime
right
around then.
Summer
Like sometime.
2020,
Yeah.
roughly. And I remember we only had a total of 3 practices in there, and I use the practice term loosely.
Yeah.
The first one was, well, we hadn't played with each other in like 6 months,
Yeah.
and we didn't have any music because we were a brand new band.
Yep.
So we kind of like we actually vamped on Outer Reach. I remember it because
Yeah, that was our first song.
That was like
Yeah.
a previous song that had existed that was maybe going to be turned into a song in Coulter, but didn't.
We kind of
And
played
so
it
we
once
just
before.
decided to like starting point. I don't know if this is
Yeah.
going to go anywhere, but like we can play music today.
We needed something. I remember we played like modern baseball. We played.
Yeah, we played a couple covers
Yeah.
and it was fine. And then I know like the next week we went back and no power.
Yeah,
so
we
we couldn't
plugged
play.
in. We
Yeah.
plugged in and nothing turned on.
Only
We're like,
only the lights worked. So that was rough. And then the third time, like we texted the landlord and got in contact with him and was like, hey, like there's all these issues. Like we paid for the room. Like we can't even use it. What do we do? And he says like, oh, I got another building that I own that like you guys can look at. And I was like, oh, okay. So the next practice we get together. I think we did technically play for like 10, 15 minutes. And then the time came and we got in the car and we went to go look at the other spot. Yeah. So we like roll up to this building and it's this, I didn't know what it was because he just gave the address and it looks like a Chinese food restaurant. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no fucking way. Like there's no way that we're practicing in there, but you
On
can
it.
tell it's like a little rundown. And
a little.
you know what? I can't gloss over this. I can't gloss over this. Let's break it here, and we're gonna continue next time with the full story and explanation of what I'm going to dub the Chinese restaurant.
It's crazy. So you're going to want to stick around for our podcast. So yeah, that was episode 1. Definitely hit subscribe or follow or wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you're ready for notifications for the next episode because you definitely don't want to miss this story. It's
It's my favorite story of the entire band.
I think I would agree. What would you say, Ben?
I think it was fun.
It was pretty
a
fun.
time.
It was pretty fun.
It was a pretty exciting time.
So yeah, thank you so much for listening to this first episode. Episodes will either be like about this long or a little longer. It depends on how we're feeling. But stay tuned for next week. We're gonna release the next episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. We have a TikTok that you can go check us out on. When Without, and also like Alex was saying earlier, subscribe to our Patreon. It helps us actually get this going because this costs money and time, and if you guys could help support us, then we can keep doing this. And because we love doing this for you guys and we want to give back to our community and get other bands on here. So if you want to see your favorite local bands, get some recognition on our show, then subscribe, become a patron. You'll get some perks, which we have yet to figure out, but we will figure it out
We will figure that out very soon.
Very soon.
Before this is posted.
before this is posted. So go check out Patreon. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of the When Without podcast.
Sweet. Thanks for hanging. We'll catch you next time. Cue the outro. Woo!